If you're searching on how to get your first B2B client, this is a conversation you really need to hear because a lot of folks are looking for that magic pill that's going to land them clients, when in fact, you need to start with your strategic come from. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do in this video. Plus, before we wrap up, I'm going to share with you some simple steps that you can take right now to get yourself into action. So first, if you're not familiar with us at Bold House, we've been around for about 18 years, and we work with transformational change agents like consultants, executive coaches, professional service providers, trainers, and other experts who work with organizations of all shapes and sizes, whether we're talking about the Fortune 1000, mid-market companies, colleges, universities, nonprofits, you name it. Any scenario in which your client is not paying with their own credit card, they're investing the money and the resources of their employer. And in that world, the psychology of marketing and sales and client relationships is totally different. Now, when it comes to getting your first organizational client, your first B2B client, it can be very tempting to want to jump in and look for that magic pill, that one marketing tactic that's going to solve all of your problems, and that's the thing that's going to get clients. But what's much more important is making sure that the fundamentals of your business are set up right and that your strategic come from as a business owner is on point. And for that, we always give our Bold House Collective members these 5 rules of business that can really serve as their North Star, whether they're just getting started in their business or they're already heading towards 10 figures or more in their business. Literally anywhere on that spectrum, you can always follow these rules, and I'm going to give them to you now. Rule number 1 in business is to follow the money. And look, this is true whether you are a solo expert or you're the CEO at the helm of a Fortune 100 company. Businesses can have a positive impact in the world, but businesses are an economic engine. They need to bring money in to do the work that they do. And follow the money is the most important thing to think about as you're getting started or you're looking to scale. When we say follow the money, we mean that in a couple of ways. First, follow the money in terms of the industries in the marketplace that are in growth mode. They're expanding. They have money to invest because they are looking to grow. Right now in the marketplace, you see technology companies growing like crazy. You see the energy companies, the defense companies, many other types of industries like biotech and fintech and SaaS. All of these companies are in growth mode. That's where the money is being made, and that means that's also where companies are spending money. Conversely, companies like restaurants and retailers have been hurting for a long time. It is much tougher in those markets because they are struggling. So you want to think about following the money from a marketplace perspective. But there's another piece to this as well. When you're thinking about who you're selling to, you want to think about who inside these organizations has money to spend. Every part of an organization is either a cost center or a profit center. They're either spending money or they're making money for a company. And those parts of the business that make money or have large budgets, that's where you want to focus first. So you think about things like the IT department. Right now, CIOs, chief information officers, they have big budgets because they now are tasked with infusing AI into every facet of that organization. So even if you're a leadership coach, there is budget for you inside those IT departments. That's really important to understand. So rule number 1, follow the money. Rule number 2 in business is to know thyself. And this is important on so many levels. But there are things that really inspire you, motivate you, interest you, that you are naturally curious about, talents that are unique to you. This is why it's so important in business not to shove yourself into somebody else's perfect system, because if they built the perfect system, it was built from them knowing themselves, and it may not be the perfect system or tactic or approach for you. If there's a tactic that you're going to be completely resistant to following through on, it's literally your worst nightmare, then that's going to be the wrong marketing tactic for you, because every single day you're going to be facing resistance and you're going to have to move through that resistance. Meanwhile, things that come naturally to you, that you've always done as far back as you can remember, straight out of college and beyond, those are the kinds of things that you're going to want to lean in on. It's one of the reasons at Bold House why we do assessments on our clients, because we need to know how they are designed, what their superpowers are, what kinds of things are going to naturally motivate them and be their zone of genius. Because the more that you can lean in to yourself and what makes you shine, the faster your business is going to grow. But I can't emphasize that enough. When it comes to marketing, think about the tactics that are going to be in the beginning in your comfort zone so that you're not fighting through that every single day in your business. All right, rule number 3 in business is to grow where you are planted. And we mean this in a couple of ways as well. First and foremost, we want you to grow where you're planted geographically. I know this sounds strange in a world where we are all instantaneously connected through things like Zoom and other tools, but there is something to be said for owning your own backyard. There are so many benefits to making sure that you have a strong client base where you are physically based. For one thing, it's so much easier to go meet decision makers face-to-face. It's so much easier to bump into those decision makers at local networking events, or to invite them to an in-person executive roundtable that you are hosting. But also, you have a lot of personal and professional connections that are in your backyard, which means those people are connected to more decision makers in your backyard. So your strongest professional orbit is going to be right where you are based. But you also want to grow where you're planted from an experience perspective. If you spent 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the pharmaceutical industry, or the food and beverage industry, or the defense sector, or the airline industry, that gives you a huge competitive advantage. And look, I know that for a lot of folks, the whole reason that they start their coaching business or training business or consulting business is because they ran screaming from the building as a corporate escapee. And the idea of going back to organizations that are similar to where they worked in the past can bring up all sorts of hives. But please do not throw the baby out with the bathwater on this. Working with organizations when you're the CEO of your own business versus an employee inside the business is completely different. And you're going to have the most credibility, the most insider knowledge, and the most connections to leverage if you grow where you're planted. So that's both from an experience perspective and literally physically where you're based right now. Rule number 4, and this one's really important, is to think big, start small, and move fast. You might be the type of person that has huge visions. You see what's possible for organizations, and that's great. But it is very difficult straight out of the gate to sell an idea that you haven't had organizations invest in already. You know, we judge ourselves based on what we know we're capable of doing, on our potential. Decision makers are going to invest with you based on proof. So it's fine to have a big vision, but you also have to start building that client list as quickly as you can. And that's why you want to start small with things like gateway offers that get your foot in the door and allow you to start building up your experience and cultivating those relationships while also bringing cash flow into your business as quickly as possible. And then there's the part about moving fast. I can't urge you enough. I can't encourage you enough to not stay in a place of I'm getting ready or I'm not ready yet. I can't tell you how many times we've had folks say something like, I'm not ready to work with Bold House yet. Let me say this. Learning a suboptimal way of doing something, i.e. the wrong way to do something, is no way to get ready for learning the right way to do it. If you have goals of landing corporate clients, of working with organizations as an adult learner, you are fully capable of learning how to do it the best way, the most effective way, right out of the gate. So start taking action and move yourself out of an idea of, I'm still getting ready or I'm not ready yet. There's no cash flow in the zone of getting ready. Cash flow comes from taking action. Or more specifically, rule number 5, cash flow comes from conversations. As a business owner, working with organizations, when you're a David working with the Goliaths, there is only one way that cash flow and revenue is going to come into your business, and that is not by a company purchasing an online program on your website. The way that decision makers are going to invest with you is through conversations. And so your focus must be on creating conversations with as many decision makers as possible. And look, you do not get extra credit for making conversations complicated. You don't get extra credit for putting more steps between you and having conversations with the decision makers who have the budget and the authority to say yes to working with you. You want the shortest distance that's possible between you and those conversations. And more than anything, you want to be focused on how to have those conversations in a way that feels really high integrity for you and is really rewarding for the decision makers. Because look, no matter what marketing tactics you decide to implement in your business, they're all going to lead to one place. And that's to the conversations that create cash flow. And once you learn to master those conversations, everything in your business will transform. Okay, so I just shared with you that big mindset mistake is staying in a place of getting ready. And that's not what you want to do. You want to make sure that you're moving fast. So to help you do that, I've included a couple of links in the description below to give you something actionable to start with right now today. The first thing you want to do is download our free QuickStart guide on how to build a $1 million plus boutique firm. It's going to look at the challenges you're going to need to overcome, as well as some of the most effective strategies you can start employing in your business, even if you're just getting started right now. I've also included a link to the next video you're going to want to watch on how to sell to Fortune 500 companies. Click on that now, and I'll see you there next.